Hello everyone, this is Mani. Welcome to the daily news protocol of the Hindu newspaper analysis of the Delhi edition contributed by Vishnu IAS Academy. Today we are going to see the news article of the date 29th March 2022. Listed are the topics to be discussed for today. Now let's move on to the first topic, a sub-regional grouping that must get back on course. There is a very wonderful news article on this sub-regional group, that is nothing but the beamstick. The Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral in technical and economic cooperation. So recently the session of BIMSTEC will be held in Sri Lanka. The upcoming summit is going to be held in Sri Lanka. It was founded in 1997. The member countries of these are 7. Okay, if we consider the littoral states, littoral member states and landlocked states, those are these: India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Myanmar and Thailand, and the landlocked states are the Nepal and Bhutan. This is the map of BIMSTEC. Members are India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Bhutan, Thailand, Nepal and Sri Lanka. BIMSTEC has some fundamental sectors, specific 14 fundamental sectors on which it will focus on these 14 areas. Clear? These are the list of those 14 for your reference. You can study all these things. And there is another dialogue, BOBMD, Bay of Bengal Maritime Dialogue. It was recently organized by the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue, and the Pathfinder Foundation. This dialogue is also organized recently. And if we consider the potential of the BIMSTEC, what is the importance of BIMSTEC? We are in the era of wars. Slowly, the wars in the Middle East countries are expanding and rising. If we can consider the Russian and Ukraine war, we can think again to stabilize and strengthen our relationships with our neighboring countries. Earlier we have seen the Pacific region coordination with Australia, and now if we consider the BIMSTEC, let us see the potential of this region, of these members. If we can consider, it has very much high potential in the blue economy, the fisheries and tourism. All these things will gain some benefits economically, and it has rich marine ecosystem. There are oceans. Okay, and also the Bay of Bengal is the home of large network of beautiful and estuaries, forests, coral reefs. All these will give that rich ecosystem appearance of that. So from that our economy will grow and tourism will grow. And fish catch is around 6 million tons, constituting 7% of the world's catch. Fish catch is also very much important sector in this field, and these are all the strong areas of BIMSTEC, and there are so many. And but that BIMSTEC is not able to gain full benefits. There are so many challenges to be addressed. So if we are to be seeing the challenges and concerns of this Bay of Bengal region, the annual loss and sea level rise and cyclonic storms are very often. The annual loss of waters is very often. Because of that loss, the coastal regions and the barriers, coral reef barriers, all these things will get affected, and with the sea level rises, the environment of the ocean, land regions surrounding the oceans will get affected, and the cyclonic storms will get affected the economy depending on it. As per the FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, the Bengal is one of the IUU fishing hotspot. It is illegal, uninterrupted fishing hotspot. That's why in Asia Pacific. That's why FAO is stressing the point that this Asia Pacific region and Bay of Bengal region should be focused to eliminate that illegal fishing and all these areas. Okay. So, the dead zone, emergence of the dead zone with zero oxygen will cause problems for the fish survival. It also occurs in this area, and also leaching of plastics, plastic pollution. When it is getting leached, that will go into the marine organisms, that will get polluted, and we will lose the biodiversity of the marine organisms in that region. Clear? That is the one of the challenge. And destruction of natural protection against floods, like mangroves. Mangroves are the natural barriers to prevent any cyclones or tsunamis from the oceans, okay, to enter into the land area. So those are also getting destructed. And sea erosion is also in the progress. It is also one of the main challenge. Like that, the tourism, piracy and tensions between the fishermen who gets into other countries. Unknowingly, they will enter into they will cross the borders and enter into the other nations, and that creates many problems to that community. And that is also one of the big challenge of the nations. So, to address all these nations, we should see if there are any strong points in that region. If you can see the measures to strengthen this area, the fisheries management is the most promising area. Why? Because with a rich economy, rich ocean areas, the fisheries management, if we can straighten and regularize this management, we will get best benefits out of it. And promoting sustainable fishing methods and establish protected areas, and also the pollution, if can be managed in the agricultural waste, industrial wastes and oil spills. Oil spills should be avoided and managed. If any accidents occurs, they should be cleared very swiftly. And also restoring the health of the Bay of the Bengal. So all these are the measures to be considered. Okay. So this is all about the BIMSTEC. We can consider. We have seen the challenges and then the areas of to strengthen. So if we can consider all these as a way forward, we can build strong relations among the all 7 member nations, and we will focus to develop our economy and to see the best benefits. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic. The phenomenon of coral bleaching. What is the coral bleaching? First and foremost, let's know the meaning of the corals. What are the corals? Corals are nothing but the small tiny organisms. These are the invertebrates. These are called polyps. These are the marine invertebrates, and these are scientifically called as polyps. In polyps, there are 2 types, soft and hard. Okay, The hard polyps produce a calcareous skeleton around them. Extracting the calcium carbonate from the sea water, these hard polyps, that is corals, produce a calcareous skeleton around them, and they will live inside that. That skeleton will be formed by with calcium carbonate. So, into these shells, other organisms called algae will come, and they will find a home in these skeleton, and they live there. These algae are the green algae, and there are so many algae are there, red algae, brown algae, every variety of algae will come, and they will give food to these polyps, as they can produce their own food materials by capturing the sunlight. Okay. So, it gives food to this. These polyps will give home and other nutrients. Other nutrients can also be extracted from polyps by the algae. That's how the entire concept is a best example of the symbiotic relationship. If we can, in the backdrop of this, if we can see a variety of symbiotic techniques, there are many varieties. In symbiosis, there are many processes. It would be a relationship between one organism and another organism. Sometimes this organism will give benefits to it. Sometimes this organism will affect and kill that organism. Sometimes this will affect this. Sometimes there will be no effect on any organism. So, there are some mechanisms in that symbiosis. Let's see those. Like, let's learn in a table. Consider that it is a symbol for getting positive benefit, it is no effect, it is negative effect. If an organism is getting positive effect and its friend, its other partner is also getting positive benefit, that is called mutualism. Okay, that is called mutualism. But if one organism is getting positive benefits and another organism is not getting any effect, that is called commensalism. Okay. And also, if one organism is getting positive benefit and another organism is getting negative effect, that is called parasitism. We hear this word very frequently, right? Parasitism is nothing but that diseases we get. The microbes, bacteriums and viruses enter into our body, they will get benefited, we will get affected in a negative way. So, that is the relationship parasitism. And also, if one organism and another both are getting affected in a negative way, that is the called competition. Okay. And if one organism is getting affected in a negative way, we have seen this, right? Yeah, parasitism. Clear? So, these are few methods under the symbiosis we have to learn. So, in that symbiosis, we can see mutualism here between the algae and polyps. Okay, but when entire conditions, environmental conditions are well and good, then only they can live happily. But if their environment is getting affected in points like temperature, light and nutrients, if these things are getting varied, their relationship will get affected. Why? Because if temperature is getting raised because of over exposure to the sunlight, if temperature is getting raised, it will cause the bleaching of the corals. Bleaching means what? We have seen that, just consider it is a polyp, it is the calcareous skeleton. Into it the algae has came, but this sunlight exposure has caused death of this algae, so it will go away. Here this algae is the reason to give color to that coral. But when this algae is going away, that color will be gone. That is nothing but called as the bleaching of the corals. Here we are noticing that beautiful relationship and environmental equilibrium is getting disturbed because of the disturbances creating from the pollutions, carbon emissions and global warming and all. Because of those only these things will happen, right? And runoff and pollution. With runoff, the ocean waters will get diluted. They will get diluted. When the water is getting diluted, they can't get food. Okay, and the acidity of this water will be reframed. Okay, the waters may become acidic, and that will cause some harm to these tiny organisms. And also extreme low tides. These low tides will cause these organisms to expose directly to the air. Why? Because they stay near the beaches, near the land area. There they won't live very deep in the waters. Because of these low tides, there are chances to these coral reefs to get exposed to the air directly. That will also make harm to their organisms. And also ocean acidification is also one of the big reason to the disturbances of these organisms. Okay, here notice this scientific name. The algae which is going to live with these corals is called the zooxanthellae. Okay, moving forward, it is the mechanism of coral bleaching. Earlier, because of the presence of algae, the corals here are very much colorful. Okay, very much colorful. But because of the stressed corals, they are getting deviated and they are going away, vacating the coral shells. Because of that, they will look like bleached, colorless. Okay. So here the concerning point is the wonderful and beautiful symbiosis between these two organisms is getting disturbed because of the pollution and disturbances in the ocean waters. Clear? So, if we can see the importance of coral reefs, the support over 25% of marine biodiversity. Okay, marine biodiversity will be supported 25%. Like in coral reefs, they are very rich of biodiversity. So the entire out of the entire biodiversity, 25% is from coral reefs. Okay, and also they generate $2.7 trillion annual income economy, and also they fuel global fishing industries, provide protection from storms and waves. Okay. So this is the all importance of coral reefs. So that's why we should find some way forward to this, considering to reduce the harm happening to these organisms. So to reduce that, we have to reduce the global pollution by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and carbon emissions and reducing global warming. Okay, all these things should be addressed to equal and to maintain the neutral state of ocean waters. Okay, and also one more point, the disturbance in these corals can be considered as an indicator to consider the pollution of ocean waters. Clear? Now let's move on to the next topic. Detecting microplastics in human blood. What are the microplastics now? Microplastics are nothing but, you can see in this figure that these are tiny particles of microplastics. Okay, plastics will be divided into teeny particles, and recently a study has shown that, an Australian study has shown that these teeny particles are able to enter into our human blood. That is the concerning point here. So these are the plastics, right? They won't get digested and they will get accumulated in our body if they are able to enter into the blood. So that's why a study has revealed this point, that the microplastics are able to enter into blood. So in this backdrop, if we can study the size of the microplastics, they can range till 7 nanometers. That means 0.007 millimeters. Remember? And they are of size of 5 millimeters too. Okay. They will range in between these two measures. So microplastics are the teeny particles of plastics found in various places like the oceans, environment, and now in human blood. The PET, it is very important. The polyethylene tetraphthalate is the main contributor of plastics, that is coming from the food grade bottles. When these bottles are getting divided into teeny particles, these are becoming like microplastics. Okay. So there are some other plastics. You can just have an idea on this. The PET, the polyethylene used in making plastic carry bags, and also polymers of styrene used in food packaging, and also polymethyl acrylate and polypropylene. They found a presence of the first 4 types. Okay, these 4. These are the main contributors in the microplastics. You can see the sources here. These are carry bags and food packaging bags and bottles and all. That's why we are seeing so many missions and NGOs to prevent these plastics. Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic. The Startup India initiative. The Startup India scheme is very much nice scheme that has given a push and boost to the startups of India by giving some incentives. Okay, so if we in that backdrop, if we can see the ranking of India, India ranks 3rd among global startup ecosystems. Okay, it was launched in 2016. It was conducted under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay, the objective of this initiative is to promote and support the startups of India by giving some financial support and by easing some licensing mechanisms. Okay, and also the criteria, eligibility of a startup can be considered here. There are few points to know who can apply, who can avail the benefits under this initiative. Any private entity or any partnership firm can be liable to get this benefit, and also that should be less than 10 years. Its experience should be less than 10 years, and also its turnover should be less than 100 crore rupees. Okay, so these are the basic criteria, and also so many benefits can be occurred can be given under this scheme, startup scheme, like tax exemptions, self-certification, and like a fund is there under this scheme, and credit guarantee fund is there, and Atal Innovation Mission is also linked to this program, and incubators in PPP model, innovation centers, research parks, fast track mechanisms for startup patent applications. All these things are the benefits getting out of this Startup India scheme. Moving forward, the lack of the main concern that we got in today's article is the author is stressing out on the point that the lack of representation on these areas, marginalized, indigenous and social group, caste and tribe. Okay. The point here is the representation to these groups is required. Why? Because they are the weaker sections, right? Weaker sections of society. If they want to do any business, they want some incentives coming from the government. So to avail those incentives, they should be recognized and considered while applying to schemes such as Startup India. But here in Startup India, there is no criteria as such that. So that's why other people who are having all the benefits and all, they are getting benefited, but not these weaker sections.